Okay, so I don't fancy myself a promoter or even necessarily a consumer of reality TV anymore. But back when I was, back in my heyday, I have to say that they did provide us with some wonderful internet memes. Like this moment from The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
The lies! There you go, this bitch.
The lies. The lies, the lies, the lies. That is oddly relatable and exactly how I am feeling about the mainstream media these days. I know you're feeling the exact same way. But I especially have it out right now for Piers Morgan because he intentionally bet me 100K on his show. Oh, I bet you 100K regarding Brigitte Macron. And I caught him thereafter in a red-handed lie. And I'm calling you out, Piers Morgan. We're going to discuss that. Plus, later on, it's not just me, apparently. There's also an economics professor named Jeffrey Sachs who is just not here for the World War II propaganda. And in better news, I also have a random story of a woman who is so obsessed with Ed Sheeran that she found herself a man who is the spitting image of him, and they just got married. They also look very happy, and I'm not sure if that's creepy or oddly satisfying. That's what's coming up on Candace. Well, it's become clear to me after 7 years, 8 years of doing this, the media apparently does not know me at all. They don't know how much I kind of enjoy them. It's like a not even toxic relationship. I particularly love Media Matters. Yeah, far left. But when I had my old show, like before I got canceled, I was really sad for a lot of reasons, but especially because I was going to miss Media Matters every single day. They were dedicated. It was essentially a free PR firm. They'd pull out these clips of my show and write mean headlines about me. And I think they thought that it upset me, but I was not offended at all. I thought it was really funny. Obviously, I mean, I do my show because I think the stuff I'm saying is funny or I believe that it is true. And they were always like, look at her, she's a transphobe. So imagine my surprise yesterday when I found out that they are back and they are tuning into the new show. Look at this headline regarding me on Media Matters. It says, I'm not kidding, Transvestigation Nation, right-wing media figures' obsession with trans people is breaking their brains. Transvestigation. What a brilliant word. I am so upset that I did not think of it, that it came from Media Matters and did not come from me. I love that. I will now be using that. But let's jump back into their piece because they've got more to say. They are big mad at me. They continue. Prior to losing her job at the Daily Wire, Owens proclaimed that she would stake her, quote, entire professional reputation on the theory that Brigitte Macron, the longtime wife of French President Emmanuel Macron, was hiding the fact that she is a transgendered woman. While her accusation was met with derision, outrage, and concern, Owens made the claim in a new video on her YouTube channel and then repeated it several days later. Oh, I love this so much because they are just such dweebs. I mean, I really am appreciating the fact I showed you yesterday that girl that went viral and she was saying that so many people that are in charge are just dweebs. And I don't mean dweebs in the sense of like the people that did their homework and the people that studied and got good grades. I mean, these people are losers and they think that they have so much power and they get so upset when you have the audacity to say, I'm not listening to you. They hate confidence. Their job is to make us not feel confident. And they're angry at me because, after the derision, after the outrage, she had the audacity to repeat the claim on her show, her new show again. Yeah, I repeated it because it's true, ladies and gentlemen, and you're not going to believe what I discovered. Piers Morgan, you lied by omission. Now, just to backtrack, I know you guys are following this story, and I'm telling you, this one's going to collapse under the weight of its own lies. I have no fear. I'm going to be a hero. People in France already came up to me tons of times and were like, thank you so much. You know, when I was in France last month or a couple of months ago, thank you so much. We all know that obviously she's a man and the mainstream media is just trying to gaslight us because that's what they do. They lie, and then they admit it years later, and then they pretend that they didn't really know it was true, and they know it's true. Again, showing you this old photo, one of the only two that has been ever produced of Brigitte Macron as a child, and Brigitte Macron is the son on the left, looks exactly like Brigitte Macron. The media trying to pretend that Brigitte is the one sitting on the lap. No, but that is Jean-Michel Trogneux's little sister, whose name was Brigitte. And it is the speculation of the reporters and the investigators and the genealogists that have been working on the story that Jean-Michel Trogneux took little Brigitte's name and is pretending to be Brigitte when obviously, no, it's just a dude. And I feel very comfortable saying that. I have no fear because everybody that reads the 6-piece news piece that came out breaking the story, the 6-part investigation rather, recognizes that it's just undeniable. Brigitte Macron is a man. I'm sorry, I'm the first to tell you. I'm used to being the first to say something and everyone sort of freaks out. I was the first against Me Too. I was the first against COVID shots. And then eventually the world catches up because you just cannot listen to these dweeb reporters. That is the fact. But back to Piers Morgan because I am upset. So remember he threw down the gauntlet when I was on his show and he bet me $100K regarding the story? Well, let me jog your memory of this little moment. Take a listen.
Brigitte Macron, as you know, has a libel trial against Natasha Ray, who made the claims that the French First Lady was born a man called Jean-Michel Trogneux. It's due to take place imminently, and we will get to the bottom of this. And I'll bet you, why don't we have a £100,000 bet that it establishes beyond any doubt to a charity of your choice and mine, $100,000, make it dollars, right now, that it is established beyond any doubt that she was born a woman. Do you accept that bet?
Ladies and gentlemen, the lies! The lies! I cannot believe this. Let me tell you how I came across this. Well, I actually reached out and had a conversation with the journalist who initially broke this story regarding Brigitte Macron. Now, I should have known, obviously, he was throwing a lot at me. That interview went on for an hour and a half, and this was toward the end of the interview. But I instantly should have flagged in my head that there was something weird about the fact that Natasha Ray is the person being sued for libel, given the fact that Natasha Ray is not the person who initially produced the 6-part series. Fait et Documents is the publication that produced it, and that is operated by a man named Xavier Poussard. Well, here is the actual fact. Natasha Ray and Amandine Roy are not on trial for claiming that Brigitte Macron was born a man. Therefore, Piers lied by omission. He knows that people that are watching that, when they hear, oh, there's a defamation trial, that there's a person involved who made the claim, they're going to assume that this must have been the person who actually produced all of the articles. But it wasn't. As I said, it was a man named Xavier Poussard, who I have been in touch with. Xavier Poussard was the editor-in-chief, the author, and the publication director of Fait et Documents. Again, they are the ones that produced the 6-part series. So it begs the question, why isn't Xavier the first source of this story being sued? Well, as I said, he and I got in touch on X, and here's what he told me. I wanted to have him on for an interview, but I have to figure that out because he said that his English is not good and he has to use a translator. I'm planning on doing that down the line because this story is just absolutely fascinating. I asked him, I said, wait a second, why are you not being sued for defamation? And here's what he said to me verbatim, quote, because by pursuing me, they would allow me to speed up my proceedings against them before the administrative court. I am taking legal action against the French administrations, which wrongfully refuse to issue me documents, including identity photos, on the case in particular, photos of Jean-Michel Trogneux as a young man, end quote. So yes, he claims that they are going after Natasha Ray instead because she's the perfect media red herring, right? Foremost, she is weak because she is currently suffering from a very advanced form of cancer. Also, because they were able to get her on a technicality of libel. So let me slow this down so you understand what this lawsuit is actually about. It's got nothing to do with whether or not Brigitte Macron is a man or not a man. So Natasha, who helped this investigation, one of the journalists had helped this investigation looking into Jean-Michel Trogneux, who is also, Brigitte Macron, she requested his birth certificate from the town hall in the city that Jean-Michel Trogneux was born. That city is called Amiens, right? Twice she requested this birth certificate, which you're allowed to do. Here's the birth certificate of Jean-Michel Trogneux. She did this in April and she did this in May. And she heard back, and this is in the year 2021, by the way, before the story was even released. The town hall wrote back to her and said, I'm showing you right now the pictures of what they wrote back, and I'll translate it for you loosely. It says that the birth certificate of Jean-Michel Trogneux is, quote, not in our possession. We invite you to contact the town hall of the city where Jean-Michel Trogneux was born. They should have this document. So she receives this answer twice, and they're still working on the story. And then eventually they release the story. Xavier releases the publication, that 6-part series that I keep telling you about, in September. And the entire world explodes because it's legit. I mean, the research that was done, you just can't read it and come back from it and think that this is a conspiracy theory. And Natasha then went and did an interview on a YouTube channel. This is now in December of 2021, a couple of months after it's been released. And she's talking about the story and discussing this strange fact that the city of Amiens, even though they know that is where Jean-Michel Trogneux was born, could not produce the birth certificate. And she's speaking about this strange fact and arguing that it proves that the documents are somehow falsified. You know, why aren't you producing this? We know that you have this. Well, apparently that is defamatory because the birth certificate, even though they didn't provide it, is not a falsified document. Thereafter, after her YouTube video received millions of views, suddenly the town hall, which had previously denied her twice, produced the birth document of Jean-Michel Trogneux. And they went, gotcha. Aha, you said that this document was falsified. I know we didn't give it to you, but now we're giving it to you. And we have you saying on YouTube that this document didn't exist. So they not only were able to get YouTube to remove the interview, they then pursued Natasha Ray and Amandine Roy, who was interviewing her on YouTube, on this technicality of defamation. That is what she is being sued for. There's no other reason that they are being sued. But the reason that they're doing this, obviously, is because the mainstream media knows that Brigitte is a man, but they also know that they can convince everybody, which is what Piers tried to do when he flagrantly lied, that this lawsuit is about whether or not she's a man. Bringing a lawsuit, it's libel, it's defamation. What is it libel and what is it defamation about? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the exact same state-run apparatus, the mainstream media apparatus that knew that the COVID vaccine was not going to prevent you from getting COVID. It's the same apparatus that told you that Hunter Biden's laptop was fake. They lie and they lie and they lie until they can walk it back. So I don't want Piers to have an opportunity to walk it back like he did regarding the COVID vaccine. So I'm going to issue him a challenge. More money. You said $100K? Well, I'm going to come back at you right now with a gauntlet of my own so that you cannot squirm out of this one, because you know that Brigitte Macron did, in fact, statutorily rape Emmanuel Macron. She was 39 and he was just 14 when they began their love affair. So I'm going to issue you a very easy challenge, Piers. First, for $50,000, I challenge you to read the documents and then to go live on air on your show and say, quote, I do not believe, after having read the document and reviewing the evidence, that President Emmanuel Macron was statutorily raped by his wife. End quote. I want you to read that. When he was a student. For another $50K, after reading the documents, I want you to say, quote, I remain fully convinced that Brigitte Macron was not born a man. And then for the last $50K, I want you to say, after reviewing the lawsuit that Brigitte Macron brought against Natasha Ray, I stake my entire career on the fact that the defamation claim is strictly pertaining to whether or not Brigitte is a woman or a man. That's it, Piers. Read the docs. $50K, $50K, $50K. That's $150,000 for uttering a couple of sentences. I want you to put your neck on the line. I want you to actually say that, because I am that convinced that you are lying. And maybe you're doing it accidentally. Maybe your producers just read mainstream headlines and were like, oh, Natasha's being sued for this reason. But I don't think it's accidentally. I'm not sure if it's accidental. I think you are many ways a part of that mainstream media apparatus that lies to people until, I hope I'm wrong. But that is the bet, and I hope you take me up on that offer. Well, I don't know if betting Piers Morgan is going to prove to be a just cause, but I know what is a just cause. Preborn and their entire mission. You know how much I love Preborn and everything that they are doing. First and foremost, according to a recent report, Planned Parenthood continues to rake in billions despite dwindling clients. The biggest takeaway is that Planned Parenthood is generating vast profits, including millions in taxpayer funding. With preborn, that is you and me, we can actively steal their clientele, meaning we get to save babies that they are trying to kill. Preborn operates on a very slim budget, rescuing over 200 babies' lives every single day with no government funding. Preborn's network of clinics are situated in the darkest corners of the nation, competing head-to-head with the abortion giants, and they need our help now more than ever. When you donate just $28 to Preborn, you will offer a free ultrasound to an expectant mother that is caught in a crisis. Because let me tell you this, once you are a mother and you hear your baby's heartbeat, everything changes. Just spiritually, you know that you must do everything to protect this precious life. And the facts are that the baby's chance at life doubles. So sponsor a precious baby's life today. Your tax-deductible gift will go directly towards saving babies' lives. Just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can go to preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. Okay, now let's get into some stories. Now, before we get into the first story, I want to remind you how close we are to 2 million subscribers. So please subscribe, or you can support us. Go to locals.com and find me. You can support us monthly. As you guys have probably acknowledged, I am having so much fun being free, and I want to remain that way. All right, first up, because we aren't done attacking Piers Morgan, the lies. I saw this clip making its way around the internet. And obviously, I've been under so much fire for questioning World War II narratives and questioning what it is that we are actually doing overseas when we say that we are spreading democracy. We're spreading democracy because it kind of feels like we're spreading imperialism, and we're not doing it on the behalf of the American people. Maybe it's a transnational elite like Julian Assange had suggested. Well, we have an economics professor who appeared on Piers Morgan's show. He is also an author named Jeffrey Sachs, and he had some stuff to say when Piers Morgan just couldn't quite comprehend why he wasn't, I guess, virulently anti-Russia and anti-Putin. Take a listen.
You seem very reliant on accepting Putin's worldview rather than perhaps the stark reality of the barbarism with which he's executed this war.
Yeah, maybe because I know too much about the United States, because the first war in Europe after World War II was the U.S. bombing of Belgrade for 78 days to change borders of a European state. The idea was to break Serbia, to create Kosovo as an enclave, and then to install Bondesteel, which is the largest NATO base in the Balkans, in the Southwest Balkans. So the U.S. started this under Clinton, that we will break the borders, we will illegally bomb another country. We didn't have any UN authority. This was a, quote, NATO mission to do that. Then I know the United States went to war repeatedly, illegally, in what it did in Afghanistan, and then what it did in Iraq, and then what it did in Syria, which was the Obama administration, especially Obama and Hillary Clinton, tasking the CIA to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, and then what it did with NATO illegally bombing Libya to topple Muammar Gaddafi, and then what it did in Kiev in February 2014. I happened to see some of that with my own eyes. The U.S. overthrew Yanukovych together with right-wing Ukrainian military forces. We overthrew a president.
I mean, the facts are the facts. I love that guy, Jeff Sachs. You know why? Because he has confidence. He has the audacity. He knows the facts are on his side. He doesn't care what maneuvers the mainstream media have. Oh, are you pro-Putin? Putin's puppet. Putin this, Putin that. First and foremost, by the way, just assessing, when you take a look at Zelensky, you take a look at Putin and Russia and Ukraine, why is it that we don't also factor in just the values of those countries? Like when I see Zelensky, who in my view is another homosexual leader, wearing black latex and dancing to single ladies in high heels. If you haven't seen that clip here, I'm just going to show that to you sort of in the background here. He is another theater boy who has been installed as an actor. That's what I think a lot of these presidents are. I think they are training up actors to play the role of leaders, which is why I was calling out Zelensky for constantly wearing military fatigues. It's very obvious that he's playing a part. And then you look at Russia, and irrespective of the fact that we know that Putin has done a lot of things that, of course, are not worse than what our government has done. After you just listen to Jeffrey Sachs's diatribe, you should recognize that. Probably, I would imagine Putin has done less relative to how many people we have killed since 9/11. And I always go back to that reference point because I'm a millennial, and that was so significant for me. I would imagine Putin has probably killed less people. You might find that to be controversial, but it is probably factual. The mainstream media has you in some weird Cold War web, Russia bad, Russia bad. Well, you know what? The values there, the fact that men are still allowed to be men, the fact that you don't have OnlyFans models running around with their tops off, and when they actually did that, they were hunting that girl down. The fact that they are a Christian society. Zelensky is shutting down churches. He has suspended elections, and you have the media trying to convince you he's the good guy. Wake up. Seriously, wake up, because if you don't wake up, we are going to be ushered into another war. My advice to people, do not send your children to fight for this country at this moment. That is my honest advice. If I was a American troop right now, I would resign, right? Everything they've done, especially over the last few years, it feels horrific. I know they've been doing it for a long time, but when you see what they did with COVID, forcing them to get vaccinated, when you look into the history of what they did, the lies that were told, the propagandists that ran the effort to convince us as we killed other Christians, like, no, you have the right values. We're killing these other people. We're killing these civilians, but it's totally fine. And when you see the pervasive illness of the people's minds who want more war, like when you look at them, don't you perceive how demonic they are? Like when I look at these people that get angry when we ask a question, I make a statement, we should not have dropped a bomb on Catholics praying in Nagasaki. We should not have firebombed Dresden. We should not have ethnically cleansed Germans following World War II and put them in concentration camps. That's what we did. And tortured them, right? When you make those statements and they get angry at you, you better realize who you're dealing with. Those are the Bolsheviks, okay? These are evil, sinister people. And if you are out there and you are defending their actions, you better think real quick about what will happen if they decide to turn their ire against you, because you've already given them the permission to kill, to rape, to steal, in order to transform borders, right? To do whatever they want, to drop bombs on innocent children. Once you give them that permission, you don't get to revoke it when it's turned on you. You don't get to go, oh my God, now they're bombing American cities, and say this is immoral and cry about it. You call out morality right away. And what we have been up to, and I am convinced the CIA is not working for America, what we have been up to has been despicable. So that's where I am at on that. All right, guys, now because we are talking about how the media very often just kind of acknowledges very late in the game that they lied to us about everything, you're going to really appreciate this Daily Mail headline. It reads, Intel contractors on CIA's payroll colluded with the Biden campaign to discredit Hunter's laptop as Russian disinformation. Bombshell, new report claims. Oh, it's a bombshell. It's a total bombshell, guys. What I've been saying with no access to intelligence agencies, just, common sense. Like, obviously, the deep state was doing everything they could, using their little mockingbirds in the media to claim that this was disinformation when everything was obviously legitimate. I mean, there were pictures, there were videos. No, it's Russian disinformation. Again, always blaming Russia because they want war with Russia. It is a Christian country that must be collapsed according to their nefarious Bolshevik agenda. But now they're willing to admit it, guys, years after that the deep state was working on that because they wanted Biden, who's basically dead, to be the president. That's what they want, a dead man for president. And that's what we've got, dead man walking for president. Who knows what their next plan is? It's going to be interesting to see. Are they going to install Kamala Harris? I have no idea, but I'm interested in seeing. Here's what I think, guys. We need to have a feel-good story. And this was sent to me by someone. I just thought it was the kookiest thing that I had seen in a while on the internet. So here's what we've got. We've got a young woman who is positively obsessed with Ed Sheeran. Her name is Amanda, and she's a mental health worker. And she would joke all the time that she would marry Ed Sheeran, the Shape of You star. And then she found his doppelganger. And I'm going to show you guys a picture because they are married. They got married. She found him and she was like, you are my dream guy because you look exactly like Ed Sheeran. And they dated for 2 years and then they got married and they had an Ed Sheeran themed wedding. And they also had his lyrics etched into their cake. And I'm just wondering, like, you know, the husband there, how would you feel about that? I don't know. What if I was just like, I'm marrying you because you look exactly like this person and I want the whole meeting, the whole wedding to be themed according to this person? I think it's weird, but also kind of great. She got her happily ever after. He looks happy. They look cute together. I have no problem with this. I think this is a feel-good story. I think it's great. Everybody should go after their dreams. And she went after her dreams and she won herself an Ed Sheeran lookalike. Okay, I have to tell you guys something before we get into comments, because I need to know that I'm not the only person who didn't know this. Okay, I didn't know this, but also Savannah didn't know this, so at least two of us didn't know this. I was on a walk with my husband, and it was thundering, I think, and I was like, oh, no big deal, we can keep walking because there's no lightning. And he was like, what do you mean by that? And I said, you know, like, it's just thunder. Lightning is the problem. And then my husband was like, you know that it can't thunder without lightning, right? That thunder is the sound of lightning. My mind was completely blown. I promise you, in my 35 years of living, I had never heard that. And I just need to know in the live chat right now if this is just a girl thing, because me and Savannah didn't know this, or is this literally just me and Savannah are the only people in the entire world who didn't know this? Or are you shaken to your core as I was yesterday and as Savannah was this morning, learning that thunder is the sound of lightning? I don't know, guys. I have to just kind of share with you random tidbits of my life because I got to give something to Media Matters to run a headline on. And that's going to be their headline. Candace didn't know that the sound of thunder was actually lightning. Okay, let's get into some of your comments regarding episodes past. This person, Shadow Slayer, says Candace has got to interview Julian Assange when he gets free this week, Wednesday, by taking a plea deal. Like this comment so she sees this. I did see your comment. Also want to say that every time I have an inkling to interview someone, Tucker is already out there. That's just the thing. It's like me and Tucker are somehow connected. And I know that since I really want to interview Julian Assange, Tucker is likely interviewing him at this very second. But if that does not happen, I would be so blessed to interview Julian Assange. I also very much would love to go to Russia and interview Edward Snowden because he also is a hero who I believe was wrongly convicted for showing us that our government was spying on us. Next person writes, the more I watch Candace, the more suspicious I become about what I learned in school. Yes, I am just wondering what we were even doing in school. Obviously, we were being sufficiently propagandized. Again, much of it is Soviet tactics. They learned from the Soviets. Many of them were the Soviets. We got a huge influx of Russian migrants in the late 19th century, and they basically took over our school system, and they know how to make us respond emotionally and to believe things, and Hollywood plays a role in that. I really now don't trust anything that gets the Hollywood treatment. I'm like, did any of this happen? I have no idea. Did any of this happen at all? Or are you making it a big blockbuster movie so that I feel emotionally attached to the story when there's actually very little facts in it? Now, on Manect, the Manect app, this guy thinks I'm going to be killed. This is Adam. Adam writes this. I'm Adam. I'm a truck driver and a real estate agent east of Atlanta. We are blessed to have a truth teller like you making content, but my message is not just to tell you how amazing you are, but to tell you what I've noticed about how they silence people who they think are a threat to their power. You may already be aware, step 1 is where they bribe you. They give you a little money so you do or say what they want you to say. Step 2 is where they compromise you. This was Epstein's job. They get dirt on you and threaten to expose you if you don't do or say what they want. Step 3, they cancel you. They drag your name through the corporate media. You get fired from your job. A few YouTube videos get demonetized and you wake up one morning and you're banned from PayPal, Venmo, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Step 4 is lawfare. This is where Trump is right now. Step 5 is, unfortunately, the JFK step. Yeah, it's actually pretty accurate. I am aware that that is sadly very accurate. I see all your comments about telling me, be careful, get security. Guys, if these psychopathic Bolsheviks want to kill me, they're going to do it. Okay. Security is just not going to change anything. But I do think that there is safety in numbers. And I think that the more that we talk about these things, these topics that have been forbidden for such a long time, you can't talk about the JFK assassination. No, we should talk about the JFK assassination because a lot of weird stuff happened that day. They shot a sitting president of the United States. You can't talk about 9/11. There's a warning automatically when we talk about what 9/11. Well, nothing convinces me more that the official story is a lie than pre-warning people about a video when we are talking about it and instantly demonetizing it and trying to limit its reach. But I feel, and I know that many people at home feel, that we are on the brink of an American awakening, and that makes me so happy. And it is a great time to talk about the state of America today, the economic climate that many of us find ourselves in. Maybe that is contributing to the awakening. You're going, wow, we've been at war for a very long time and our lives are not getting better. Many people are facing the challenges of managing their monthly expenses. There are so many Americans who are turning to credit cards, but then, of course, there are high interest credit card rates. And that traps you in a cycle of debt with balances that persist month after month. Paying only the minimum each month means, of course, that it could take years to become debt-free. So here's what you should do. Reach out to American Financing, a trusted partner in helping people achieve financial freedom. If you're a homeowner, they can tap into your home's equity line and help you eliminate high-interest credit card debt. On average, their customers save $854 per month, which is essentially like getting a $10,000 a year raise. Process is straightforward and it's quick. You could close your loan in as little as 10 days. And by acting today, you might not have to pay your next mortgage payment. What a relief that would be. It costs nothing to see how much you can save. The opportunity to regain control of your finances is too significant to ignore. So please, if you're under financial stress, you don't know how you're going to make ends meet, and you're so fearful because, like I said, you just feel so stressed when you have debt. I went through that with student loans. I was like, how? I couldn't even look at my phone because it was always them calling. Well, I wish I had an option like this. You do. Make the small step. Call American Financing today at 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210. Or you can visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. Okay, another comment we have from this person. He says, Candace has bigger balls than most of the male journalists. God bless you, Candace Owens. Greetings from Serbia. Well, I'm sure you just liked that we talked about what we did in Belgrade. And thank you for saying that. The truth is that a lot of these male journalists, they're dweebs. They are. I'm sorry. They're just losers, and they sip their chai lattes and write mean stuff about me on the internet. And I just have enough confidence to not care about that. The only thing I really care about is the future for my children. And we only can fix the future if we are willing to talk about the past. It takes brave people, right? You have to be brave in whatever it is that you are doing. You need to be brave. You need to be yourself. And you need to be confident that if you are on the side of truth, no matter what happens, you're on the side of goodness, right? You can't go wrong. When you know Christ is King, I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong because you already know how this story ends. It ends with us winning. That is the truth. All right, guys, that is unfortunately all the time that we have for today. No, you know what? Someone called me out in the live chat. They were like, why does she keep saying it's all the time she asked for today? Because I'm used to my old show format when it was very strictly 30 minutes. And I guess it's not that anymore. But I'm just done talking to you. That's the best way to say it. I am just done talking to you guys for today. Some days will go longer. Some days will go shorter. We can do whatever we want because we're keeping the show free. Again, go to locals.com. Become a monthly supporter if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Just pray for us. The prayers work. They are keeping me safe. And there are only, by the way, 200 left of the tumblers. I found this out yesterday. I'm amazed by that. There's only 200 of the signed tumblers left, and there's only 500 of the unsigned tumblers left. So go get your Standish Cup. Clubcandace.com. Those will be shipping out, I believe, in 2 weeks. Finally, thank you guys who were for being patient as we've been figuring out this whole thing. We are very much in startup mode, and you guys are like my angel investors. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.